Alright guys, today we're going to look at how to find images, sounds, videos, and other resources online that you can use safely without any worry about anyone complaining about copyright or infringement, no matter where you are in the world. I know in many places around the world it's quite easy to find any resource you want and download it, including full-length movies, full games, anything you want really. But there are places in the world, especially the US and Britain, where that sort of activity is considered quite unethical and illegal. And there are systems that have been set up to make sure that no matter where you are, you can find resources that other people have made and completely opened to allow you full access to use that resource in any way that you want. Here's how we do it. This sort of material is called Creative Commons licensed, as opposed to copyright licensed. The copyright is specifically set via certain aspects of the Creative Commons codes. And if you're interested in that, we can go to the Creative Commons website and look at what that means. But here's how we do it. Let's start with Google Images. We'll say that we want to get some images of countryside. So we're doing an image search for countryside, and I see lots of beautiful pictures here, but I can't tell which ones are okay for me to use and which ones aren't. I'm going to click on Search Tools, which is going to give me usage rights. And I can then choose Labeled for Reuse with Modification, meaning that I can reuse this in any way I want, including changing it. If I just choose Labeled for Reuse, that means it's okay for me to reuse it, but not to change it necessarily. It may also be licensed for changing, but this does not specifically tell me that. If all I'm going to do is use it, this gives me a broader search and lets me find materials that I can use in whatever project I want, as long as I don't modify them. If I'm going to look at modifying it, then I definitely need to choose the Reuse for Modification. And there are a couple of other broader searches as well. Labeled for Non-Commercial Reuse with Modification is the broadest search. And labeled for Non-Commercial Reuse, meaning that you can't use it in a product that's intended to make money. For a school project, a report of any kind, labeled for Non-Commercial Reuse is fine. So we'll choose Non-Commercial Reuse with Modification, which gives us the broadest searching. And you can see that there are a lot of images. This is not a very limited search in this sense. There's plenty of choice. So that's how to do that with Google Image Search. What if you're looking at Flickr, the biggest image database on the web? So let's say I want to find a mountain. So now I've searched for this, and right here at the top I have a license choice, not even hidden or anything, and I can choose Creative Commons only. Commercial use means specifically the ones that I can use for money-making projects. Modifications allowed, obviously. If I'm going to change it so that I can do something with it I want to do. And again, you can see that there are a ton of great pictures, variety of different sizes, shapes, places around the world. Lots of choices for you, even though you're choosing something that isn't limited by a license, even though it's not copyrighted material. What if you need a sound? Well, there's a website called SoundCloud.com, and well, I like ambient music. So I want an ambient track that I can use for my background music. Now, this doesn't specifically tell me anything here, but if I switch to tracks, I then get filter results. If I choose everything, it doesn't give me the filter results, but the tracks does give me filter results. And I can choose Creative Commons here. This little C in the circle is a copyright symbol, and that opens up to modify commercially, use commercially, or to share, which means I get to use it in something I'm doing and share it with other people. So here's where I can find all these soundtracks, sound effects, all kinds of things for use in my own works. This is a great source for material, background music for your videos or presentations, rather than using somebody's copyrighted music. And then, of course, there's video, and YouTube has something very similar. So if we wanted to find, let's say, climbing Kilimanjaro, and I didn't spell climbing properly. There we go. Now I've got all these results for climbing Kilimanjaro, and right here at the top is a filters drop-down, and under the features I can choose Creative Commons. And now I've got videos that are specifically about climbing Kilimanjaro that people have specifically licensed for me to go find, use, remix, do whatever I want with. And finally, I want to take you to the Creative Commons website. Search.creativecommons.org is a search site that lets you choose a whole variety of different media types and put in your search. So if I want to search on Kilimanjaro and I want images, I can choose Photopedia, I can choose Google, I can choose Google Images only, open clip art, YouTube. I can go anywhere I want using that search. I can specifically say I want it for commercial purposes, or I want it for modification purposes, or not. And then it will take me specifically to the searches on all of these websites and give me all of the information that I'm looking for that's been licensed by Creative Commons. Creative Commons, if you just go to their website, will have all the information about what their specific licenses mean. But anything that's licensed with Creative Commons, at the very least, has been licensed for you to use to share with other people. So that's a great source, great way to find material for your projects. If you have any questions, drop by my office and see me.